You stop talking to them, maybe weeks ago, maybe months ago. You continue with your life. You work. You talk to people. You laugh. And then, suddenly, they're back in your mind. A conversation, a message, a moment you wish had gone differently. But here's the strange part. You may not even want them back. Why can't you stop thinking about them? It's easy to assume that constantly thinking about someone means you still love them. But psychology is more complicated than that. Sometimes your brain keeps returning to a person because the experience still feels unfinished. Your mind naturally looks for patterns, explanations, and conclusions. And when something emotionally important ends without a satisfying answer, the mind may keep going back to it. Think about a conversation that ended badly. Maybe you said something you regret. Maybe they said something that hurt you. Maybe they suddenly disappeared. Or maybe you simply never got the answer you wanted. And that's where the mental replay begins. Why did they do that? What did I do wrong? Did I mean anything to them? What if I had said something differently? Your brain doesn't necessarily keep replaying the situation because you want to go back. Sometimes, it is trying to make sense of what happened. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, so the mind keeps revisiting the story, looking for an explanation that finally feels complete. And here's where things become even more interesting. Sometimes, you're not actually missing the person. You're missing the feeling associated with them. The attention, the anticipation, the connection, the version of yourself you were around them, or even the future you imagined together. That's why knowing someone wasn't good for you doesn't automatically switch off your emotions. Your logical mind can understand something while your emotional system is still processing it. You can know that going back isn't a good idea and still feel the urge to look at their profile, still remember their voice, still wonder what they're doing. Think about an ordinary day in your life. You probably don't remember every conversation, every meal, every time you checked your phone. Most of those moments disappear into the background. But an emotionally intense experience can stand out, especially when it involves rejection, uncertainty, embarrassment, loss, or longing. The emotion can make the memory feel much more important. And then comes the trap. You think about the person, which makes you feel something. That feeling makes you think about them again. So the thought becomes connected to the emotion, and the emotion becomes connected to the thought. A loop begins. Thought, emotion, memory, thought again. And because the loop feels important, you keep feeding it attention. This is why telling yourself, "Stop thinking about them," doesn't always work. In fact, deliberately monitoring whether you're thinking about someone can keep the thought mentally active. It's like saying, whatever you do, don't think about that person. Now your brain has to check whether you're thinking about them. And suddenly, they're back in your attention. Because sometimes, the person isn't the thing your mind is trying to recover. The meaning is. Your brain may not be asking, how do I get them back? It may be asking, what did that experience mean? And once you understand that, the thought can begin to lose some of its power. So if someone keeps appearing in your mind, don't immediately assume that it means you should go back. Maybe your brain isn't telling you to return. Maybe it's simply trying to understand what happened. And sometimes, letting go doesn't begin when you stop remembering. It begins when you no longer need the memory to give you a different ending.